Allogene Therapeutics is trading at $2.78. We can see right here that the stock is up almost 150% over the last 6 months. And I featured Allogene Therapeutics 5 months ago when the stock was trading at $1.16. And so the major spike that we've seen over the last few months comes in the lead up to what is a critical year for Allogene Therapeutics. In their latest press release, they state, "We believe 2026 is a program-defining year for allogeneic CAR-T and Allogene with value-defining readouts and clinical maturity unmatched in the allogeneic field," said David Chang, President and Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Allogene. And so the major share price spike, which sees the stock trading at $2.78, has everything to do with their pipeline, which we can see right here. The first catalyst which has seen the share price soar to the prices I mentioned surrounds this target right here, which we can see as CD19. It's for the Cema-Cel program. And right here, it is currently in phase 2, and we can see that there is no phase 3. And that's because the phase 2 is designed to be registrational, which it states at the bottom of the pipeline. And so this means that the phase 2 trial is actually being run in a way so that the FDA could potentially approve the treatment based on the results of this trial alone and without needing a phase 3. And so the upcoming catalyst was published in the press release titled Allogene Therapeutics Positions 2026 as a program-defining year for scalable real-world allogeneic CAR-T, where it states the interim futility analysis of the pivotal phase 2 alpha trial with Cema-Cel is planned for early Q2 of 2026. And so essentially what this means is that this is a trial that Allogene Therapeutics are running to assess the efficiency or the effectiveness of this Cema-Cel, which is an investigational therapy that they're developing at the moment. And the planned interim futility analysis, this is basically a check mid-trial or at some critical checkpoint in the trial to assess whether it's worth Allogene Therapeutics continuing with the trial itself. As the trial is registrational, they don't want to run the full trial to completion, which is why they have this interim futility analysis. And so an independent data monitoring committee will look at a number of the different elements of the study, which you can see on your screen right now, and this will include patient safety and the study conduct too. And so off the back of that, the independent committee will then feed back to Allogene Therapeutics and confirm how likely it is that the trial will succeed if Allogene Therapeutics continue with the trial. And so with this in mind, it could be considered as a make or break scenario for the entire program, and a positive result from this futility analysis de-risks the trial. We've already seen what this news has done to the share price. It's clear that there's a lot of optimism with investors who anticipate positive news, which is why we've seen the price skyrocket to these amounts over the last 6 months. And so right now the market is currently dominated by a number of proven products like Kymriah, Yescarta, Tecartus and Breyanzi. The major problem with these treatments is that they require patient-specific manufacturing, they take time to make, and they're very expensive too. And because they're being used to treat an aggressive form of lymphoma, unfortunately you don't have the luxury of time with this, and any time delay can actually have a critical, life-threatening impact on a patient who's waiting for the treatment. Allogene Therapeutics are trying to develop an off-the-shelf equivalent. Their treatment would be a faster, more effective and cheaper alternative to these products. And we can see right here that Allogene Therapeutics have stated that the company's off-the-shelf approach is purpose-built, seeking to deliver the attributes required for sustainable growth and broad patient access, including rapid on-demand availability, consistent predictable product performance, simplified administration, manufacturing scalability and efficient cost of goods profile, with a possible price point of around $10,000 to $20,000 a dose. And so this is just the interim futility analysis. Like I said, it's this checkpoint, and if the data is positive, the independent monitoring committee will confirm that they recommend that the trial continue. And with this kind of news, we're likely to see the share price spike even further. And then on top of that, it would potentially unlock further catalysts upcoming over the next 6 months with this stock too. Allogene Therapeutics would then move forward towards the full enrollment, and with that we would come to expect a final data readout too, which should come at the end of 2026 or early 2027, which again would be kind of almost like the next milestone, with again a positive readout impacting the share price, and we could see another spike in the share price too. And then after the final data readout of 2026 to early 2027, we have a pre-BLA meeting in 2027 to look forward to as well, and then finally a BLA submission. And so those would be the critical milestones or checkpoints which could see a lot of anticipation, a lot of influx of more people coming into this stock with further data readouts anticipated and meetings with the FDA as well. And I think as a shareholder, one of the exciting things about holding this stock is around the treatment and the fact that there's real potential that Allogene Therapeutics will create a treatment which is far better than the existing treatments out on the market already. And given that this treatment has the potential to offer time saving and is far more cost effective than current treatments on the market, and it's for a life-threatening disease as well, you know, there is the possibility that the FDA will take a look at that and give it a fast-track designation too, which in turn would accelerate the potential approval of this treatment. In short, it's this upcoming interim futility analysis, the promise of a possible off-the-shelf life-saving therapy, which could become a superior alternative to the current treatments on the market, and this potential for a registrational approval in 2027, which has seen the stock price surge up to almost 150% over the last 6 months. And on top of that, Allogene Therapeutics is led by 2 pioneers in this field. You know, Ari Beldegren and David Chang are pioneers in CAR-T therapy. They're well aware of the previous limitations of the therapy, and they've almost kind of committed themselves now to be working on those limitations to provide an off-the-shelf new equivalent, which is far more cost effective, in turn helping to save patients' lives. And if anything, they're best placed in order to create this innovation simply because they spent years perfecting the last treatment that they developed and the company that they developed, Kite Pharma. And so not only do we have this positive noise coming from Allogene Therapeutics through this press release, but we have a solid team of expertise behind them too, which is why we've seen the stock price surge over the last 6 months. And so naturally, I'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening with Allogene Therapeutics and all the stocks that I track on this channel. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.